Hello.
Hey Dan, can
And
you hear me
how's
okay?
what's that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just great.
Okay.
I was going to say the solo performance of Dan sitting in his laptop now becomes a duet
Oh,
recorded for
all right.
posterity. Um, I have sort of like catch up questions that I don't know if it's good to spend everyone's time on it for the meeting or should I just bombard you with them?
I think,
Hmm.
mm, well, I'm not sure who's going to show up because people
What?
have been
Yeah.
so busy.
Okay.
Because, Ray has his job and then
Yeah.
Rob's been doing so many other stuff.
Well, it's
Um,
it's 1 minute until two, so why don't we just start on time and then we can always move back.
yeah, and I think catching up is great because I feel like we've been kind of like fraying a little bit. So I thought we'd just totally use this time to sync up.
Yeah. Um, Cool. So where are you and what are you doing during the day right now? I don't even know if I know that.
I am in San Diego, California, West
Yep.
Coast.
Hmm.
And during the day, I work on edgy stuff.
Okay. Cool. 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 Cool.
Yeah. I mean, so like I guess the short story is I was doing web development a long time ago, 3.5 years ago,
Hmm.
and then I quit my job and I sold all my things, and then I went traveling for about a year and a half, and then I came back to the States and decided I needed to work on something meaningful because I was just
Yeah.
like selling t-shirts before and
Hmm.
just like dumb e-commerce stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then I wanted to get into open source, and Edgy was the first thing I found, and I
Yeah.
just kind of stuck with it since
That's
then.
awesome. I mean, it's really lucky that we got you. You've been continuity. Um, Being at SciPy, there was a really good keynote. I thanks for the retweet on my cookie cutter, by the way. There was a really good keynote by the new executive director of what they now call the Carpentries. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
There's
Carpentry?
software carpentry and a spin-off of it called data carpentry are a non-profit. Dawn is extremely active in it, and I think personally knows the guy who created it. His name is Greg Wilson, who I've met and talked with a little bit, but
Cool.
he's moved on to some new thing. Tracy, oh, I should know her name. Anyway, Tracy, someone gave a keynote at SciPy. She's the new director of the software carpentries, and basically, it's supposed to be lab training, but for software.
Mm.
So a lot of their audience is scientists, but not exclusively. Like anywhere where you would benefit from being able to upgrade from Excel to Bash or Python. So not so much web stuff, but kind of data processing stuff seems to be their go-to. And there was a lot of talk about building self-sustaining communities and building good open source projects. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have one like cool news. So I
Oh, cool.
just finished signing contract with Public Lab, so I'll be
Oh,
coming
cool.
on board as the community coordinator at the end of August. So helping with that type of
Oh,
stuff.
that's great. That's
Yeah,
really great.
yeah. So helping with onboarding, fixing up all our our repositories, and then making space for like new contributors and stuff like that, and then just staying abreast of everything in Edgy and connecting like all the different working groups, making sure people are, like you were saying, continuity, like making sure
Yeah.
everybody's abreast of what's happening. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's such a good fit. Is that 40 hours or is that
No, just halftime, but yeah, I mean,
I'm jealously glad. But yeah, I hope that's what we want. It's a great that's a great fit.
yeah, yeah, I think so. I think it's it's in line with what I feel are Edgy's needs and what I want to do and what I
Hmm.
want to like learn. And
Yeah.
for me, like one of the things I learned and why I wanted to join the open source communities so badly was that I realized that I all the things that I wanted to accomplish I couldn't do by myself, and I really needed to learn how to like build a community or like work within a community to work on these like really tough problems and projects. So I'm like
Yeah.
really looking forward to continuing to do that here.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm still sort of formulating this thought, but with a little bit of distance. I think that we have somehow really at every point failed to create any kind of project that a long tail can engage with.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
don't know yet which points to press on to fix that. Hey, Totally.
totally.
Hey, sorry, I'm late.
No problems. We were just catching up.
Yep.
Yeah, that long tail thing, it's one of the things I brought up when I talked about like the hiring committee. It was like exactly that point where it's like we need to break down tasks and have something that like a person that can only devote like 2 hours a month to where they can contribute, as opposed to now where it's like everybody like 5 to 10 hours just to like do anything meaningful. It's really difficult. But
Yeah.
on a related note, we had a second round interview for senior software dev, and then
Good.
seems like it went really well. He's very proficient in Python and Ansible, so depending on what happens, so hopefully he can
Excuse me.
really help with the deployment process and carry things along, and just add like more stability to the project right now that we need.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard somebody say at SciPy is that your first couple hires should be technical people. And I wish Rob were here to sort of talk this through, because it seems like Ray at the end of his time agreed. But the context for that original decision was, I think, Totally and I slightly leaning toward technical, and Rob strongly leaning toward community manager. And I still think Rob had a really good point. So I wonder like what all the factors are there, and is the kind of open source project that is like a scientific library, does that have different demands than a web app?
I mean, in a perfect world, I wish we could have just got both.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the real solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems right. I mean, I think back to like the first time that Edgy, if I'm nominally leading this meeting, but I think this is a useful thread, and we don't have a whole lot of updates.
Yeah.
So, okay. The first time that Edgy failed to do this was the Archivers 1.0 app. Were you here for that, Kevin? I don't remember.
I didn't work on it as much. I saw some of it, but when I joined, I just jumped into the web monitoring like platform stuff. But I was like vaguely aware of like the Archivers space and like building that whole like workflow of like baggers and all that stuff, right? Like taggers, baggers, and metadata and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we did attract a super confident dev who took it upon himself to do the, thankless, I don't want to say boring, but thankless maintenance work of like standardizing the code base, adding some tests, making it something, turning it from a, blitzkrieg hack of mostly Brendan's with an assist from me into something that a community could engage with. But by the time he had really started investing work in that, his name was also Kevin, Brendan was onto like, let's just start from scratch Archivers 2.0. And that discontinuity, I think, lost him, and wasn't effectively like communicated by just the whole group. And that was a pity. And that was sort of the first time that I think we sort of failed to convert a rushed project into a community project. The web monitoring one, I think, has not had that problem, but has the problem of just, it's such a big thing that getting your brain around it is 10 hours of work up front before you get to meaningful contribution.
Yeah. Because there's also like this huge like human process that it's supporting that like you have to like even learn to begin with too. Like how is this application being used? And then the application itself is like these huge components.
Right. And you could spend probably a 40-hour week writing documentation, like maybe with a video, and like graphics and stuff that's good enough to explain someone that process. But at the end of that 40 hours of effort spread out over, I'm sure, more than one actual week, you will need to scrap it and start over because things will have changed. Right.
Yeah.
And we're sort of stuck in that trap, and I don't know how to get out of it, but hopefully hiring a senior dev will help. So.
Yeah. I mean, within the last couple of months, I don't feel like that process has changed so much. A lot of the technical details at the back, that's what's been more in flux than the actual analyst process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, reflecting back now, do you feel like uh, the kind of the more community support versus the dev support, like looking back, almost a year now, what do you think would have, what do you think would have been better for the project?
It's counterfactuals are hard. I think at the end of the day, we got in a community manager in anticipation of a growing community for that person to engage with. And is Tully still here?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my camera just came on.
Yeah, no worries. That community didn't show up, and so at the end of that funded effort, we didn't have the community that we planned to have. I think speaking for Rob, I'm guessing, I think he saw some of that work, some of the community management work coming in and falling to him, and it was work he felt he didn't have time to do and wanted a person to take over that part of it. But then that trajectory sort of didn't keep going in the direction we expected. So in retrospect, knowing that we didn't have a community to manage so much, not to say that there wasn't useful work done, I would have prioritized the dev work, because if we could get the platform to the point where Rob can work on ever more clever visual representations of diffs, which is his interest, and I can work on prioritization and filtering, which is my interest, then I think we'll both kind of feel like we have renewed momentum. And that's looking back. Looking forward, we just need to get to that point.
I think that the senior dev hire will help along that in that case. And it was when we had the interview, like after we were speaking about it, it was definitely like that would be the first priority. It was like some of his responsibilities would be this community like onboarding, but definitely like the first beginning, the priority would just be just getting to the stable place, that not worrying so much about like this deployment process and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Have you guys seen Francis since the last time I was here?
Nope.
All right. I should just take that back and do it. I mean, not to say cut him out, but I should not assume that it will be faster if I just wait for him to do it at this point.
You haven't talked to him in a while either?
No, he put up that PR that I was excited about, but he hasn't moved on it. I mean, I haven't prompted him at all, so I'm not, maybe he just assumes things are moving slowly here, and that would be correct. But
yeah.
Maybe if I put a little time to it myself, we'll tag team it.
Have you had a chance to like, I don't know what the PR, like run the PR or like test it? And...
no, because he specifically stated this is not ready. So I read it.
Okay.
But didn't figure it was worth the time of trying to deploy it and enjoy its failure modes in person. So with that, so we sort of talked about the hiring update. I was going to try and place us onto the rubric, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Is there more to say about that?
About the hiring?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I'm not sure what's happening with the the web monitoring project manager. We had an internal candidate, and then we had like second round interviews with them.
Okay.
But I haven't heard back like what's happening, if that's gonna go through or not. It seemed very positive, like that would happen, but I haven't heard anything since the second interview, which is about 2 weeks ago. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Okay. Next thing is, and that web monitoring project manager role, I should really know this, I'm sure I've been told, but that's dev and analyst side, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was, but during the talk, it seemed more like they were more interested on the analyst side, and we're hoping that the senior software dev would take lead on like, managing the dev side a little bit.
That seems fine. I don't think there would be a whole lot for a technical community manager to do right now, even less than there was for poor Ray.
Yeah, but I know that they'll try to like cross-pollinate, like be at the meetings and just be aware of like what's happening on both ends for sure.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I mean, I see that the value there is something that Ray was doing actually a fair amount, which is like aggregating analyst input, especially when new features are being constructed. So, just being like the spokesperson on behalf of the analysts about dev related things. So hopefully whoever the internal hire is, or whoever the internal candidate is, that's like something they're aware of or considering it. But yeah, I haven't been involved in the process.
Okay, cool. So mile 002 updates. We still know that we can get IA ingestion in as soon as we are ready to merge it.
I have one comment. And
Yeah.
so I was trying to sync up with Rob about that because last we talked, we said we didn't want to move forward too quickly because we want the deployment process to be like, settled in case like things go wrong and we could switch back easily on and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then we were going to ask him to see if he could just test things on staging. I pinged him and then I think he said very shortly like, oh, he didn't think that the IA stuff was actually was being blocked by the Ansible work. I don't think there was just kind of this off sync, and I wish Rob was here so that he could talk to you more and so that you can understand like it's not technically blocked by the Ansible work, but we're waiting because of the whole like
because of the concern of the ability to roll back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, got to get that done. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I have you had time to sync up with Rob, Dan?
Have not. We've both been traveling.
Yeah, so I thought
California to Germany is rough.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I didn't want to like poke him because I knew he was like super busy and overseas, and I think, but I guess asking him more directly about like whether he has any time to do the testing on staging. He did say like he thought there could be improvements to that PR as well. So I was gonna I thought the best thing to suggest was maybe he just lay out those issues to like what he thought to improve it, and maybe the best course is just to wait on the hire and they can like kind of finish things off on that end if Rob doesn't have the time.
That's probably right. Like the hire or Rob and me in the same room and able maybe with the same weekend able to get some of the stuff done.
Yeah, but right now it
got done.
Yeah, so right now
you know how much longer he's on travel? Because I've been away more often than not for the last month and a half.
Yeah.
Is he? But I'm actually going to be in Baltimore for a little while. Is he going to be traveling? Do we know?
I have no idea, but he did mention. So the last week of July, there's the Decentralized Web Summit in San Francisco.
Okay.
And so he did mention like he wanted to meet up with everybody because Brendan and Matt said and Dawn and myself are all going to be there.
Great.
So I assume at least during that time he'll be in San Francisco if he wanted to meet up with us in person.
Yeah. One hopes.
Yeah.
That's
it was
cool.
it was a little while ago, but like it would be just great just to like all sit together and have a drink and have some food. So
yeah, that's cool. I have yet to meet Rob in person. That's fun.
Yeah, but next steps, do you want to just try to ping him or do you want me to?
Yep, happy to do it. I'm gonna try and actually do a thing and then I don't know if it makes sense to say, hey Rob, do you have time to do this work without like changing something? So I think it might, I mean, unless you think we should, but I assume he's putting as much time at Edgy as he can.
Oh yeah. I think laying out the issues that he saw that that hasn't been documented and just having.
Okay, that's a fair point. So specifically, we want from him an explanation of what could be improved about the IA import mechanism. Okay, fair enough. Yep, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Sorry, it took me 2 or 3 tries to cotton on. Next thing. So I think that's kind of it then.
Yeah, for dev stuff, really.
Yeah. So Totally, what's up?
NBC wrote a piece 2 days ago about how climate change has been removed across like EPA interior energy websites, but somehow these two NOAA-run sites, climate.gov and cleannet.org, are still thriving. Talked to the journalist a bit. I also just loaded up some of those domains into Versionista to make sure that we're monitoring them. In case, now that a spotlight has been shown on them, we might as well make sure that we're archiving. Other than that, I know there are some reports in the pipeline. Report team will be meeting on Friday. Still working on report about hydraulic fracturing page at the EPA, and the Department of Transportation removed the climate change portion of its website. Not surprising. Other than that, I know there's an effort to rethink a lot of the classification and the process, like the everyday analyst kind of coding that they've been using, at least, to think about how to make it more efficient.
I have a question. So I know that you and Jake are gonna be like your time dedicated to like kind of just managing a lot of this stuff is gonna be coming to an end after the summer. Has there been work of like just transferring knowledge, documenting? What do you guys do? Has that started happening yet? Or is there anything we could do to help with that? Because I feel like I'm scared when you guys just disappear. So Jake just started a new job on Monday, but he's not gonna be able to like lead the analysts as much either. So, and you guys are so pivotal.
I did not know that.
Well, I'm cycling back to my PhD, or at least some of the scientific work in the fall.
Right. I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Jake was planned to be the heir apparent anyway. Obviously, he's allowed to go get other jobs.
I think it's still, he's, well, I guess I wasn't sure he stepping back completely, or if he's just reducing his involvement just because the job is going to take up a lot of time. My sense was that it was just going to take up more time. So he wanted to kind of prepare people.
Yeah.
But I mean, the plan is whoever this hire is to absorb all that knowledge, and hopefully there's overlap, the rest of the summer. But in terms of documentation, I actually feel like we have a lot of that down. In terms of report writing, there's a pretty good core of analysts who know how to write reports now, and are involved in that. And, we're also not disappearing completely. So.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Like, I know there's going to be a transition period, but not much talk has been done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's not much to do, the process just needs to happen. We need to hire someone, and then hopefully it happens soon.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Sully.
Cool.
Oh, I have another quick update. So we talked the last time we were together, we were talking about that, the IA collaboration. Mm-hmm. So I did just update the steering committee, and from the replies I got, everybody was super positive about it. So I think I suggested the next step would be for us to kind of create a document just to begin brainstorming about what we would see this collaboration looking like, and like how we would present, and then try to present that to Mark with something concrete, like, this is what we want from him, this is what we could provide, and and then like iterate on that. But I don't know who should begin that, or if we can begin that. I think one of the things they did recommend is definitely having input from the new hires. So I don't know, maybe we just wait until then.
I don't think this is urgent. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Which is not to say I don't think it's a good idea. Just that
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want us to have to start over.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think that as long as it's something that's like brought up pretty quickly, when the new hire comes on board, then they are aware that there's like this, possibility of integrating. Then obviously we're not going to be like, you have to do this. So, but I do see it as like an important moment in the beginning to make those connections and figure out exactly how to
Agreed.
set that up.
Then I'll just put it on hold, and hopefully the hiring like finishes up in the next week or two, and we can
I can also just make a Google Doc so we can just start throwing ideas in. Not that it does anything, but
it is very helpful if you can also just kind of like write down like things that might have been said in the conversation that you, Ray, and Mark had, like any important points and stuff, just so we have a record.
Cool. Are there any other action items beyond I should ping Francis and I should reach out to Rob for that list? Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order today?
Just quickly, so I'll be traveling a lot next week, starting next week until August 20th. So so just my availability will be a little low. I imagine I'll be able to make a meeting next week if there's progress, and if there's not, maybe we can just skip next week. But then after that, I probably won't be able to I won't be online much.
That makes sense. Actually, I should have said I'll be on the road starting on Wednesday for just a short little family thing. So why don't we take next week off, assuming that's low enough attendance?
I'm going to be gone the last week of July, so 2 weeks from now.
Okay. It seems like we might still have a meeting in 2 weeks from now. Wait, Kevin, you're still gone.
Yes, I will be gone.
Obviously, because that is before August 20th. Yeah, even I can do that. Okay. Okay. All right. I will try to take responsibility for deciding if we're having a meeting until the end of the summer. Cool. All right. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Was there anything else you wanted to catch up on before we left?
Baby update.
Baby update. Baby continues to be super cute. She can hold her head up now. All right for that. She likes making sort of howly coyote sounds in the morning. It's cute. Yeah, life is good. Actually, that's a good question though, Kevin. Was there more context? So, do we have a start date for this senior dev in mind or not?
I don't know what it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that something you want me to find out and ping you?
If you can figure it out before the next time that we're meeting or whatever.
Okay.
Just to target.
Yeah. Because if they say they want it to start in like October, November, it changes the timeline a lot.
I think that's right. And am I right in thinking that the pile of money available for Versionista is not a critical issue right now?
I think that's accurate. I think we asked for a significant amount allocated to Versionista in the Packard grant.
Okay.
But I think Ray has that knowledge in his head.
I was going to say, and then from the last Climate Central grant, we had some extra funds left over that we didn't apply to anything, and that's going to Versionista. So we have like a surplus, a little bit of probably like a 1 month or 2 month extra from the Climate Central.
That's good.
So I think we're okay until the end of end of the summer, and there's Packard money.
Okay, good. Yeah. Sounds like we'll be all right. Cool. Well, I'm glad that we were all here, and I think that's it for me. Unless you guys have other stuff.
Nope.
All right.
Cool.
See you later, dudes.
Seeing you, everybody. Bye.